What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Scarlet and Great Ohio State football with Scarlet and Great here on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a pretty fun show today. We've got to see a little bit of football, spring football as it were, but still football that we were all starved for after many months of not seeing our favorite Buckeye sport. We got to see the spring game. Florida Corey and myself, we're going to go ahead and break that down, what we thought about it. And also two big new booms for the Buckeyes. Same weekend, two booms and the spring game. So a lot to talk about and unpack on this show here. We're going to get to all that in just 1 second. But before we do, just one quick, simple request from you. Please, if you are a Buckeye fan, please subscribe to this channel. Help us get to 5,000 subscriptions by next season. I'd love to get to 5,000 before next season, maybe do a giveaway, give away some of Corey's money, do something cool like that. It'd be a really fun thing. So please help us get to 5,000 subscriptions before kickoff next season. We'll bring you plenty of Buckeye content between now and then. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in everyone's favorite Buckeye everyman, Florida Corey Thompson. How are you doing, Florida Corey?
Give away what money? I don't even like.
Well, then all the easier it is to give away, right?
Yeah,
you just kind of ruined our thing. Like we were going to do a giveaway, and it was really easy to get away with.
Just empty my pockets and lint and condoms for hopeful purposes.
Well, Corey, we got to see a spring game, and I guess that's what we'll have to go over first. So I think this show is going to go like this.
Oh, boy.
You'll talk about something that saw in the spring game and how it's pretty cool, and I'm going to tell you why it doesn't matter. And then you'll talk about the next thing.
This is basically our life in general, just any topic, really.
Right, and then you're going to tell me why this person stood out or this unit stood out, or what you were glad or not glad to see, and I'll be here to tell you why it didn't matter.
Yep.
And I got to say this, Corey, I was more indifferent about
this spring game on Twitter before the game. You were like, I don't know why I'm just not even into this.
I'm not going to tell you exactly how much I did or didn't watch of the game.
Very little.
But it was not my normal excitement level. This whole recruiting cycle, I've just been like, I've been like, let me tune into these guys who won't make a splash for 2 to 3 years if they're even still here. Let me get excited about this.
The portal's taking some
it is right,
some edge and bite off of recruiting. It's like, oh great, well, we'll see.
It's kind of got bad.
It used to be just like, well, they decommit. Now it's, well, even if they're here 2 years, who cares?
It's like, well, they signed. Well, they could still decommit.
Yeah, exactly.
they can still decommit down the road. And it's not just Florida
contracts
kids
don't matter.
It's not just Florida kids that are going to leave you now. Now it's everybody that have been on campus. Yeah, it used to be you had to recruit really, really well. It's like now you have to recruit and keep and transfer portal really well.
And you have to offer the best NIL deals.
Right. I want to say, though, when I did take a look at the game, it was pretty cool. Like, I've been so indifferent this offseason. I don't know if it was the SEC dominance, the beating we took. I don't know if it was just a culmination of things, seeing Michigan triumph. I was so indifferent, and I was just like, man, I don't even know if Buckeye football is ever going to be the same for me again. And then I watched the game, and I was like, whoa.
Why do we have a podcast right now?
Let me finish. Jeez. I started watching the game, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is why it's fun. This is a pretty fun.
I said that right before you said that line, too.
I was like, this is pretty. Now, I don't know. And it's warming up outside. I'm an outdoorsman. I'm getting outside more.
Yeah, that's fishing 24/7 pretty much. Right?
Yeah, it's taken some of my interest.
Basically, like I'll play with my daughter later. I gotta go catch bass. So.
Exactly. But And then I'm like, well, the weather's still going to be nice out when football season starts. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be into this whole thing. It's one of my only days off work. But it was pretty fun to watch them sling it around, Corey. And
Well,
go ahead.
Well, can we first talk about the new format before we get into anything? The offense versus defense. I know some people were not liking it. I loved it.
It was an actual football game?
Well, I mean, it's like, first of all, I like the fact that they gave the defense points for certain things like stoppage on fourth downs and sacks, interceptions, whatever. And I like that, that they allowed the defense to score, and the defense kept it kind of close towards the end. But I also like the fact that, you don't have a hodgepodge of two offenses going against each other.
Yeah.
It's like
switching teams halfway through.
I know it's pointless. I mean, and then there was some live tackling on top of everything else, and it's like it actually looked like football a little bit, and because we went to the spring game in 2019 where it was no tackling and they were switching teams left and right. It's like it was the most boring. Other than seeing for my first time Ohio Stadium, hanging out with good friends, that was a boring endeavor. I mean, it was just the game was horrible to watch.
And maybe that's why it was indifferent.
And it was Justin Fields' first game as a Buckeye, technically, and it still was boring.
Maybe that's why I was indifferent, Corey. Maybe it's because I've seen these before.
Yeah.
After about 2.5 quarters, it gets to where it's like, okay, we're not really seeing anything here.
Yeah, we're seeing walk-ons now get to play a little bit, and they're two-hand tagging, but they were tackling it, and they did offense versus defense. You got to see a lot of McCord and Devin Brown, which is who you should see. I mean, CJ doesn't need to play the whole game, and you got to see some of the backup receivers and new freshmen and young players get to play, and that was good. Towards the fourth quarter, granted, when they put every walk-on in there, I was like, okay, I'm kind of done.
Were you surprised in the third quarter watching CJ throw it?
A little bit. I don't know. I mean, granted, he can't get hit. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, we really don't need to he planted on the foot wrong, and he's broke his ankle.
Right. I didn't expect to see that, but it was nice. It was nice to see some tackling. Like if I was a running back in the spring game format, the old format, I'd be like, what? Why?
Well, look at Trevor Henderson. The first couple of carries he had, he could have easily broke those, and it was like, okay, we're gonna
touch. Yeah, that's
it. For a guy like that, I mean, he's like, wait a minute, nobody in this field can catch me.
Oh, a guy like Mayan, like 2-hand touch, like wow, that takes half my game.
Bowling ball of a running back, That's like my part of my strength is you can't tackle me.
Right. Well, Corey, first of all, let's get into it. We got our first look at QB Devin Brown.
Yep, from Arizona and Utah. Yep.
Yeah, a guy who is a competitive guy, a gamer. You mentioned early in the game he floated up a pretty poor interception. But besides
early in the game, I don't think, but it was earlier. You mean earlier before we started? Yeah.
Before we started, yeah. When was the timing of that pick?
I believe it was in third quarter, if I recall correctly. But yeah, that was his. I mean, I said it on Twitter. He has a little Brett Favre in him.
Yeah, but nothing to lose, right? He may never play snap of Buckeye football, so. May as well have some fun.
Well, I did love the fact that he backed up his words. I remember when he came to Ohio State, he actually said out loud, "No, I was hoping Quinn Ewers would stay so I can compete with him." I said, "Is that false bravado? Is that just him talking?" He gets in there and he's got a good arm, first of all, and he's got this moxie about him. Like, I don't care. I'm gonna challenge that secondary.
He kind of reminded me a little bit of Bryce Young, just that fire, that competitiveness, right? The scramble around, step up in the pocket, get away, throw on the run, just that edge, that gamer. Mm-hmm. You know what and I don't mean to disparage any athlete in any way, but what he reminds me of is he's what Tate Martell thought he was. You know what I mean?
Oh, I thought you were going to disparage an athlete. My bad. Okay.
He's what Tate Martell. He's what Tate Martell thought he was, or to what Tate Martell wanted to be, or maybe what a lot of us wanted him to be.
Spoke out loud, lady. Well, I mean, he was very false bravado. I'm going to be the starter.
I just mean the play style.
I mean,
to be mobile and still be able to throw.
Yeah, I mean, Tate was obviously a guy you coming in, you were thinking, okay, he's either Johnny Manziel or he's strictly JT Barrett. I mean, there's no in between here.
Right.
And he was not even JT Barrett. So
yeah, he thought he was Johnny Manziel.
yeah, exactly. But I like Devin. I think he's got a bright future. I love the fact that he's got that moxie about him. That's what you want to see when they're young. Obviously, he's got the arm strength. and he's got the confidence. If he's got those two things, you're off to a good start because he's got a while to learn the offense and get comfortable with the college game. He ain't gonna be playing for a little while. And I truly don't think he's a guy that if McCord wins the starting job next year, Devin's going to leave. I think because he's witnessing a guy like McCord right now who is sitting for 2 years voluntarily to be the starter next year. And I know some people are already saying that he'll already beat out McCord. I don't buy that. McCord's pretty good on his own right.
No, so, remember, Corey, Quinn Ewers was going to dog walk McCord on day one.
Oh, geez.
And now Brown's going to.
I remember when Quinn Ewers was going to Kelly Bryant, C.J. Stroud. So it's like, or Trevor Lawrence, C.J. Stroud, I should say. So it's like, guys, stop it. The disrespect Kyle McCord gets by the Buckeye fan base is a little wild sometimes. But we can transition right into Kyle McCord, actually, if you want to. Yeah, exactly. That touchdown pass to Joe Royer. By the way, Joe Royer looks good. That touchdown pass to Joe Royer was nice. So.
Yeah, he put some air under the ball and allow the guy go and get
in between
the
safety and corner. Yeah,
it was when he threw it, I was like, wait, is it to him? No, it's to him. Oh, it's way over there. No, it's to him. He really lofted it over there. And Kyle's a guy that everybody thought was a heck of a ball player. He's a 5-star coming in, and I think with CJ being so incredible. Right. And then Kyle only getting to run with the 2s last year. And then with the greatest quarterback of all time, Quinn Ewers coming in, Kyle got.
He might be the greatest Ohio State quarterback. I know we're paying tribute to Dwayne. Rest in peace, Dwayne. But Quinn might have surpassed Dwayne Haskins.
I think he is. I mean, I don't even think it's debatable at this point. It's people say arguably the greatest of all time. I think it is.
Yeah.
Matter of fact. Yeah. But he's certainly he's the greatest quarterback, Ohio State quarterback of all time, maybe NCAA quarterback of all time.
Maybe.
But yeah, so Kyle kind of got lost in the shuffle there in people's minds, but he's a great quarterback, and it was good to see him get out there again.
Yeah, I feel bad for him in the fourth quarter when he was playing with all walk-ons, and it was obvious that like nobody can get open, nobody can do anything. It's just he's just throwing the ball away. He's like, whatever, let's get this game over with. I'm sure Ryan Day was in his ear too. Like, I just want to get out of here. I'm done with this. Done with this crap. This goes longer than a regular practice. I'm done with this crap. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, moving quickly on from that, Corey, I want to say lineman
defense or offensive?
I would rather not split this up and then have a 2-hour show. So
okay.
Guys who aren't very athletic, let's just call those linemen, offensive and defense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Overweight fellas. Who stood out the most to you of the overweight fellas?
JTT has a nice spin move. He just added to his repertoire.
So it's 2 moves now.
Well, you know what? His bull rush is already good, but that spin move on 68 to get the sack. I was laughing with my friend Steve. We were watching the game, and I said like 68 said, "What do you want me to do about that, coach? What do you even want me to do about that?"
Yeah. We brought him here because. He's not stoppable, right? You're not supposed to be. And
it's like, I'm not the 5-star recruit. Come on.
Right.
But, as far as line, the whole line as a whole kind of stood out on defensive side of the ball. Offensive line's got some work to do. But Sawyer, I like his athleticism, and people were complaining about him dropping back in coverage. I love that wrinkle. I love screwing with the quarterback like that because Jack is such a dangerous weapon off the edge. You want to give the quarterback different looks as he's snapping the ball. I think Sawyer, he needs to drop back a little further. He wasn't great in zone sometimes, but that's okay. You want him learning it now. I think Sawyer looked good. I think defensive tackles look good. I think defensive line overall just played better than what we saw against Michigan. Now, granted, again, it's spring game, so it's against Michigan. The defensive line, that's the last kind of Utah and Michigan are kind of the last 2 times we saw the defensive line, and quite frankly, quite often they got pushed around. And I didn't see that this game. I saw a vast improvement, and I think that's basically because of defensive scheme. Somebody pointed it out who can watch film and dissect it. I can't remember his name, so I'm not trying to take credit for it, but it's like we saw a defensive line who attacked spots rather than try to get through every time, and basically clog up spots for the offense to not be able to work as well as it used. So I can't think of anybody who really stood out on a personal level. Probably wrong on some something. Just comment below who you think.
Yeah,
I'm sitting there thinking the whole defensive line, like one after another, looked pretty good.
for sure. And
I think Tyleik Williams looked good actually. He looks very athletic, and he's down to what they say 315. He just looks every bit of it. He's thin, slender, and he is athletic as all get out. He's going to have a major impact this year. 360 last year's kind of goofy. My goodness,
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about offensive linemen? Anybody kind of stand out or just
not in a good way?
Continuously get beat?
Paris needs work at left tackle still. And I love Paris. I think he'll be a good left tackle, but I think people who are giving him an automatic only 1 year thing maybe jumping the gun a little bit. He might be here 2 years because he might need it. So
yeah,
he didn't have the best of games in the world, I don't think. Now, granted, the coaches can look at the film and say, "Corey, you're an idiot," but that's just which is fine. Yeah, I don't think anybody on the offensive line looked spectacular, but again, I think it's the spring. The defense has an advantage on the offense anyway.
It should, yeah.
And normally speaking, I'll be honest with you, last couple of years they really didn't have that advantage. So to even say they have an advantage is a tribute to Jim Knowles and what he's doing so far.
Yep. Yeah. Besides Jack Sawyer going up against the third string tackles, that was the only time I could see.
Yeah, when he's going up against Grant Touton every rep, it's like.
Well, okay. I mean, but he was a true freshman, and you could see it was like, well, he's different than other. Oh no, freshmen.
He's a Bosa for sure. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with him this year. Because when you see him dropping back quite a bit, you see him in that Leo spot. So.
Yep. Corey, this is something that
I remember, like you said this in the group chat. Wait a minute.
Now, granted, this doesn't matter because it is spring ball. And I will say, even in the last 2 years when the secondary's been bad, I'm pretty sure there were tight windows in spring ball because it's backups guarding backups. But still, this was the most organized Ohio State secondary you've probably seen since last spring game, or maybe since the Akron game.
Maybe not since Halfley, to be honest.
And it wasn't that anything was overly complex. It was just that guys were right there in coverage. Now, were they, maybe holding and grabbing a little, sure, but it just looked like they knew what they were doing more. Again, I know it doesn't matter. It's spring game. They're probably going to get torched in the regular season. I get it.
We'd be remiss if we didn't mention Kye Stokes standing out.
Yes, but again, it doesn't matter. He'll probably never play. He'll probably transfer before he ever gets in. The
Josh
defense
Proctor's starting over me. I'm done.
That's right. I'm better than him. Yeah. I'm better than him. Miami will give me 250 G's a game right now.
And a gold necklace.
And a gold.
But Kye
Stokes did stand out. Yeah,
he
did.
stood out, and he looked like Malik Hooker a lot of ways. But I love the fact the safeties were facing the quarterback and cutting off routes and cutting and kind of reading the ball. It didn't seem like we had that the past couple of years. In fact, past couple of years, I couldn't even notice like a safety in the vicinity of the freaking football half the time.
That's the biggest difference is that
I know it was basic versus basic. I know Ryan Day said these are two of the most we went basic on offense, basic on defense, and they should do that for what it's worth. But even basic versus basic, I mean, there's time. Look at the 2018 is a great example, right? When we're doing 17 and 18, when Greg Schiano was coach, or when we would see the quarterbacks light them up, just ridiculous. Now, the quarterbacks played okay in this game, but it wasn't automatic,
right?
Like with Joe Burrow and Dwayne Haskins going at it, it wasn't. It
wasn't last year's linebackers drop and guard grass and just have huge gaps in the middle of the field.
No, and you know what? And even when they would allow a catch, they would meet that receiver quickly.
Were they flying around the ball?
Yeah, they were flying around the ball, my friend. And there was a lot of gang tackling. I noticed there was 3 and 4 guys hitting the ball carrier. I was like, where's that been the last couple of years at Ohio State?
Let's take it easy with that verbiage.
Oh,
gang
stop
tackling.
Is it racist?
I know you're a bit racist, but
hey, there were white guys tackling too. Okay. Anyway,
it was a more organized, aggressive, not blown out of place. It
looked like an actual defense.
It did. Now, again, will it look that way in the fall? Probably not.
Not right away.
Will the ghost of Kerry Combs come back? Yes.
Johnny has no faith anymore. He's done.
No.
You've broken Johnny's heart too many times.
Will Jim Knowles play a 4-2-5 when Michigan comes out in jumbo? Yes.
Johnny's in shambles. I know. I like the fact that when they would do it, they do a screen or to the pass to the flat or whatever. Somebody met him and tackled him. It wasn't just like, last year I was talking to my friend Steve I watched the game with, and I said, man, that play was 15 yards easy last year.
Yeah, because it was like one guy over there getting blocked and one guy just hustling to try to get over there.
Yeah, and it was like somebody like 17 trying to reason with the running back.
Trying to reason with him. Go down, man. Go down.
Come on, man. You're making me look silly.
Chill.
Man, you're killing us here. No, so and on top of that, we do some bubble screens and our corners, like Jordan Hancock stands out as well. Jyaire Brown looked pretty good. Would our corners would actually jump out and tackle the guy.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't. It looked like Jeff Okudah out there tackling on the edge. It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, we're not allowed to do this.
We're not used to that.
Now, I didn't know. So it's hard not to get excited, even though it's a spring game, because of the fact that we haven't seen any kind of competence in the defense in the last 2 years. And there's a different swagger about them. When Kittle had that interception, the whole defense, even the starters, surrounded him on the bench and were laughing and playing around. And I'm like, this is a different swagger about this defense right now. They seem happier and they seem like they're out to prove something. And I dare say, Jim Knowles may very well be changing the culture of the defensive side of the ball finally. Maybe. I mean, it's spring game. I know none of it matters, and Jim Knowles is going to be fired before the year's over. But still.
No, he'll get 2 years. We always fire people a year late. He'll get
That's
2.
true. Yeah, exactly. Game 2, Buckeye fans will be saying, fire him now. Go get Marcus Freeman.
You know what it's going to be is if look, you can't fix this thing overnight. So the first time they're gashed for a game, it'll be like, but y'all wanted to get rid of Kerry Combs. Y'all thought it was his fault. I know it's going to be your guys at a certain Buckeye website that you said just lamented the loss of Kerry Combs might be there.
I'll go ahead and say
that.
Letterman Row. I like those guys. I like Letterman Row. That's a great place. But when I was listening to that podcast, they were all just crying about Kerry. I was like, I can't listen to this. Stop it. He made like $3 million in 2 years to have a bad defense. I don't know what to tell you.
He stole more money than Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, jeez, man. He's I don't know, the greatest, some of the greatest thieves in the world. They make movies about him. I mean, I don't know, documentaries.
Right. Yeah.
Al Capone's got nothing on Kerry.
Corey, I wanted to say this. There's 4 seconds left before the end of the half, and Ryan Day's been doing what he's done since 2019. He could have ran a play, but anytime he got a chance, he's gotten a chance to cut it short and just get to the locker room or get out of there. He's done. Does he need to show more respect to the spring game? This is largely people in Ohio who have hated their lives the last 4 to 5 months. Actually, the weather's been terrible, but before that, I mean, since the weekend after Thanksgiving, right? Since the game, they've hated their lives. You give them a little football and you go, you know what? We could run another play, but you know what? I make $8 million a year, and hey, guy that was just out jackhammering the road for $14 an hour in 9-degree weather. You want to see a play? No, you don't get to see a play because I call the shots. Just to stick it to the man. Just, you know what? I'm going to fly home in a helicopter. I hope you ride home in your 1987 Mercury Topaz. Sad that you didn't get to see more football because I just took that from you. You think Ryan Day has gotten a little too big for his britches?
I think he's using those last 4 seconds to leverage a bigger contract out of Gene Smith.
He's telling Gene, I can pull a plug anytime I want to. I got the keys in my hand.
You see that 4 seconds? I don't think so. You didn't see that 4 seconds, did you?
I won't. Next time, I'll kneel down 45 times next spring game.
while the anthem's playing.
I'll teach mental health seminars all fall long. We'll get beat by 50 every game. All right, Corey. We got some commitments to talk about. Two guys who will probably never play, who will leave and go to Texas for NIL deals. First guy, Bryson Rodgers.
Coming here for the NIL deal and then just to leave.
I got to tell you, Corey, besides this guy being from Florida, that's strike one.
That's a red flag right there.
That's a red flag.
Anybody from Florida.
The first name is strike number 2.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I'm kind of okay.
Is he going to wear number 17?
Is he going to play field safety? Or post safety, yeah.
Might as well. Because Kye Stokes is leaving. So,
what do you think about this one?
You know what? And Brian Hartline, I trust. I know he's a 3-star right now, but you look at his tape. Actually, his huddle video. I mean, his tape. Like I'm going to his high school coach. Give me all his film. Oh no, he actually does seem to run pretty good routes for his age. He's 6'2", about 180 pounds from I believe it is. Let me look it up here real quick. Zephyr Hills, Florida. Yes, I could never because I know the other guys from Tampa, so we'll talk about it. But I like a big, tall receiver who's fast, runs good routes, and Brian Hartline likes him. That's all I need. So, and the funny part is, I saw somebody. I mean, a good friend of ours has his own podcast, John, on Twitter, saying, "Well, if stars only count when stud was recruiting." I'm like, well, one of these guys is proven.
Yeah, one guy's earned the right to grab a 3-star and say we should trust him.
Yeah, exactly. I think Hartline's done okay with the receiver corps. Just saying.
I mean, we haven't really recruited badly at receiver for a long time. Like,
yeah,
we've been fine.
I mean, yeah, and Zach was recruiting well at receiver too, so it isn't like we were getting bums. Yeah,
yeah. Okay. Well, that is good news. And then the next guy, Dijon Johnson,
Honey Mustard Johnson.
Honey Mustard.
We got
Johnson.
Honey Badger. Now we got Honey Mustard.
Only one red flag for this guy being from Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
So he might make it on the roster 2 years before he goes and plays for Miami.
Yeah, definitely.
Or Florida State.
Some defunct program for sure. Yeah, corner out of Tampa, Florida. Tall guy, 6'1", 190, already got good size, 4-star. You know, again, I like the pickup, good player. It's interesting to see this is kind of Tim Watson's first guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that. I mean, they're going to credit Tim with him. I don't know for sure if Tim led the charge on it, but I have to believe that Tim's got something to do with it.
I hate it because you know who else loved big corners?
Kerry.
No, before Gary. Greg Schiano. Greg Schiano just loved big corners like Urban loves speed. And both of them have 2 strikes against them already. We'll see how this pans out. It's not looking good.
Well, they're both
them.
transferring soon anyway, so don't worry about it.
They've
already entered the portal.
Both of them will be spring game heroes.
Yeah. Dijon Johnson, man. 3 pick-6s in next spring game. That dude's going to be an All-American.
Let's just not have him on the podcast because he will definitely not commit if we have him on the podcast or definitely decommit.
That's why we don't have recruits on the podcast. We don't want to lose them.
Well, shout out to Bennett Christians. What is it? Bennett?
He did get a catch. He did get a catch in the spring game.
Is it Christensen or Christian?
Bennett Christian.
Christian from Georgia was interviewed on this channel right here by Shane Larson, and he actually made it onto campus.
Before he transferred,
and had a catch in the spring game.
We interviewed Clark Phillips and he flipped. So,
and then he picked off C.J. Stroud. So
then he got beat by Harrison like 3 times. So
well, you know, happens to all of them. That guy is going to beat a lot of corners for the rest of their
imagine
lives.
Like, okay, we're gonna put our 5'8" corner on a 6'3" receiver there. Okay.
Well, Corey, that comes to the end of
long show.
Notes. Yeah. What do you think? You think you can go ahead and pull the plug here?
I think we can.
Okay. Well, it was a pretty good show for a show that didn't matter. For a show
like Seinfeld.
Whose line is it anyway? Everything's made up and the points don't matter.
Exactly. That's just a spring game.
Just like spring game. Start opting out of spring games and playing in your bowl games. That's the movement we're going to start here.
Hey, I'll take that. Actually, I will take that.
Yeah. Well, people that talk about risk injury all the time, like, you do realize they play a spring game, right?
Now they're having live tackling again.
Yeah, that's not
tackling in football. That's just unheard of.
That's not going to work. They should. Well, at least they wore masks. That's going to do it, guys. We're out of time. As always, goodbye. God bless.